Hello everyone, my name is Daniel Barnett and welcome to my presentation. Today I'll be discussing how well my website on financial ratios fulfilled the top 10 list for my log number 7, where I provided 10 examples for creating a well-structured presentation. My website started with a strong outline, an idea of how I wanted the web page to look, and the type of information I needed to provide. My outline guided me into balancing imagery and text in a way that one didn't consume the other. Having too much text or imagery can ruin a presenter's credibility, confuse an audience, and ruin visual appeal. I feel that I made great use of space, imagery, and provided simple but useful content. My introduction explaining financial ratios followed rule number 4, don't forget your target audience. The purpose of this website was to provide my audience, students who have little to no knowledge of financial ratios, a subtle definition that would be easy to comprehend and follow. Finance can be really boring, and I made it a point to use familiar words and terms that would prevent the audience from being confused or bored. Research shows that if a website exceeds more than 3 squirrels, viewers are less likely to read the content at all on the rest of the page. To avoid having too much content, I followed rule number 2, don't write long walls of text, and rule number 4, don't repeat yourself. At times I felt like my text was pretty long in length, but I was confident that the content I provided was just enough information to assist students with little to no understanding about financial ratios by providing in-depth information written in a way a struggling college student would understand. Sometimes it takes a little explaining to understand material, and given the book definition and information on material, I felt that it would have probably confused my audience and therefore not be any of help. Repeating yourself can deter visitors from staying on your page, and it ruins the creator's credibility. When creating my webpage, I kept this rule in mind and made sure to revise my content many times so to not make that mistake of being redundant and repetitive. Another way I accomplished this was by describing the learning material in steps rather than just rambling on. When a person's confused or organized, they tend to repeat themselves, and that's an indication that they weren't well prepared or an expert in that material. I don't repeat myself on my webpage. Instead, I continue to build off the material that describes it in a step fashion. Bullet points help break the text and allow for an easier way to navigate through the information posted. I incorporated the use of bullets in my webpage in a few different locations for this specific purpose. I even went as far as linking additional websites to the bullet point text so that readers can, if need be, seek additional help from these additional resources. I feel like going through my website, I made use of great structure with the use of bullet points. The purpose of the website is to provide information to students who may find the material helpful in the related studies by understanding the information a little more than they did before. Specifically, my audience is using my website to find answers. I made sure to keep this in mind while structuring my content around the idea that I got from rule number 7. Provide the answers to your target audience. I made sure to provide examples with detailed answers that gave students the proper tools to practice and verify the information I gave. For example, on this slide, I give a example of word problem, and it was created to engage the audience members in practicing a financial ratio that's easy to use and understand, as they were given the exact answers and breakdown of how and why it was correct. I believe it also gave students the confidence needed to continue to practice financial ratios and a feeling that they were able to get something from the website and the material that I provided. Don't plagiarize. This speaks for itself. We all know the dangers and repercussions of plagiarism. There are times when students don't mean to, maybe when they paraphrase without citing the source. However, it's important that we still understand that this is still considered plagiarism and must be taken seriously. When finding information from my website, I was careful of how I displayed others' information, and I was sure to give them credibility where it was owed. Further, I cited my sources as a part of supporting evidence, which proved where the material came from and how it was used. Applying rule number 10 in my top 10 list, don't use images that you don't have legal right to. I primarily used photos from the website service Popular and they offered in their image search database. Any photos not used in Popular were cited and given credit. After I spent about 5 days creating the web page, I found it very useful to revise before submitting. This allowed me to make corrections I otherwise would have not seen or perhaps have a negative impact on my grade. I feel like I have minimized all my issues or any corrections that I needed to make. I did, and that was reflected in my review grade and my peers' responses, I believe. Every student's busy working either full-time, part-time, while juggling classes, and life can get pretty hectic. So I tried my best not to rush to this assignment, because we all know our quality of work when we rush. That's why the following 10 steps helped me. I formed a solid outline and guided me throughout the whole process while keeping the other 9 rules in mind while writing for web pages. I was able to meet the deadline with no problem, and because I planned accordingly, and I even reached out to the professor for some guidance. Although we're all busy, it's not an excuse to miss deadlines. School's like work, and you got to treat it like a full-time job. In conclusion, I learned to follow directions. Specifically, I didn't create any excuses. I learned a lot about researching credible resources and using them correctly. And I also learned to pick a topic or find something within a topic that interests you, so that way you're not bored and you actually produce good work. I also learned not to be afraid to ask for help, reaching out to the professor or reaching out to your peers. I felt my presentation and my website was really well. My website provides helpful content that students can use, and that was the point of this. And I think that my page fulfilled the rules for my top 10 list from log number 7. And all around, this was a very fun and interesting project that allowed me to learn a lot of different things, such as creating a website and connecting with my fellow classmates. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you for watching.